Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Washington D.C. We're in the top 8. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Ben Schwartz. We have Craig Wescoe playing Death and Taxes versus Sam Black, number 10th ranked player. Craig Wescoe's ranked number 20th in the world. And we are underway. An ideal start here for Craig Wescoe. He has a turn 1 Aether Vial.
Yeah, and that's just huge. It's exactly what he wants to see, especially against a deck that has counterspells like Sam Black's. Perfect start for him, allowing him to accelerate out some creatures, get things underneath counterspells, the most important part. And also there are certain interactions in his deck with Flicker Wisp that only work because of Aether Vial, or work even better because of Aether Vial.
Yeah, he's got quite a few interactions like that that will be seen throughout the course of the match, and depending on how long it goes throughout the course of the top 8.
So Sam fetches a Dryad Arbor, it looks like, with his Windswept Heath. Looking in Craig's hand, he had the opportunity to play either of his best turn 1 drops, either Aether Vial or Mother of Runes. Aether Vial more powerful against Sam Black. He's going to hold that Mother of Runes to use, or to play via Aether Vial later.
All right, and you're going to see this time and time again. Craig Wescoe activates his Aether Vial on end step, puts the ability on the stack, and says, do you have any responses? He's going to do that every single turn, whether or not he wants to actually use it. This is just a good habit to have. It's also good against cards like Stifle, which Sam Black's not playing. Right. But Craig Wescoe says, well, look, I'm just going to do it every time anyway. All right, he's going to play a Wasteland.
Ooh.
Wow, Swords to Plowshares, your Dryad Arbor.
Is he going to Wasteland away the Tropical Island?
It looks like it. He was playing around days there by leaving the Wasteland for second, but then he fires it off, and he has now left Samuel Black with no permanents on the battlefield. Sam rips a land for the turn. He already had an island in hand as well, and I think he's going to ponder here. There it is.
Yeah, that was a sick play from Craig Wescoe now.
It was.
He can activate that Aether Vial end of turn, put in a Mother of Runes the following turn, get a Stoneforge Mystic in the turn after that, get Flicker Wisp, perhaps flickering out his Stoneforge Mystic to get another equipment.
Flicker Wisp, a card that Craig has used for many different effects over the course of the weekend here. We've seen him use it on his own creatures to save them, or to get an extra additional effect like Stoneforge Mystic. We've also seen him just cast it, no Aether Vial, and just get a blocker out of the way.
Yeah. Really powerful card in the Death and Taxes deck. For those of you that don't know, the deck is named that after the joke. There are only 3 things that are for sure in this world: death, taxes, and white weenie.
That's right. It's a magic twist on a popular saying. So Ponder is going to hit the graveyard. 1 fresh card there for Sam Black. And does he have anything else this turn? No, he doesn't. End step, activate it. Sure, Mother of Runes in play, and he gets to untap with it. He is going to tick his Aether Vial up to 2. And Craig Wescoe looks to be off to a great start against Sam Black here.
Yeah, really not what Sam was looking for in the early game here against the White Weenie deck. Hope was to counter that Aether Vial, and after that, work his way up with more mid-rangey creatures, controlling the board, maybe getting a True Name Nemesis later on. Craig had the ideal start, though, and it's going to be tough for Sam to come back from that start.
Death and Taxes is very much a resource denial deck. It will attempt to make it either difficult or impossible for you to cast your spells by destroying or detaining your lands with Rishadan Port and Wasteland, and also play a bunch of creatures that make it more expensive to cast spells like Thalia. So Green Sun Zenith is going to go find more mana. You can tell that Sam Black is pretty concerned about mana against the Death and Taxes deck, as he turn 1 Zenith for mana, and now he's the first opportunity he has to cast a spell again. After that, he's doing it again for mana. He's trying to bolster his mana defenses here, so he can actually start resolving the big spells that are gonna trump the smaller stuff from Craig Wescoe.
Yeah, looking in his hand, he's got a Jace the Mind Sculptor, Knight of the Reliquary, and Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares, unfortunately, missed its opportunity because Sam didn't have white mana to take out the Mother of Runes. And now it's going to be tough for him to find a good target for that. Stoneforge Mystic comes down from Aether Vial, exactly what Aether Vial is supposed to do this game. Just get these creatures out uncounterable, gain a lot of mana advantage, and here's a Batterskull.
That's right. And you're going to see Mother of Runes just sit there and protect against all sorts of things. All right.
So we're going to go back to Craig's turn. He'll up the ether vial, making it clear that he's got those flicker wisps in hand.
That's right. Draws another Mother of Runes, has 2 flicker wisps in his hand already. And he can vial in them, as we say, using Aether Vial anytime here. He can also vial in a Batterskull with his Stoneforge Mystic, so a lot of uncounterable interactions here for Craig Wescoe. It looks like he has decided that he's just going to say go for now. He's going to use that Stoneforge Mystic, use that Aether Vial, increase the pressure in a huge way here. So a lot of pressure on Sam Black. Even though you don't see it immediately on the board, Sam knows it's coming, and here's a Knight of the Reliquary for Sam.
Here you get to see how powerful Mother of Runes is in this matchup, and just in Legacy in general. Sam's sitting there with 2 Swords to Plowshares. The best that it can do now is he can 2-for-1 himself to remove one of Craig's creatures. That being said, the only creature he really wants to remove is Mother of Runes. It's the most powerful of all of them, but that shows just how powerful Mother of Runes is. I mean, like, there are plenty of other creature removal spells floating around this format. There's Lightning Bolt, Swords to Plowshares, things like that, Path to Exile. Here we see Craig using his Aether Vial to flash in a Flicker Wisp and use, as you were mentioning earlier, Marshall, Stoneforge Mystic to put in that Batterskull.
It looks like Sam's thinking about the Flicker Wisp, and he's actually going to use it on the Knight to get it out of the way. Sam's going to take a minute to read Flicker Wisp, and you can do that at home as well.
So it removes it from the battlefield, it exiles it, and returns it at the beginning of next end step. So if this is truly the end of turn, that Knight of the Reliquary is going to be gone for all of Craig Wescoe's turn.
And we've seen him do this. This is one of the abusive things you can use Aether Vial for. It's not just about uncounterability and virtual mana ramp. It's also about interactions. And we're going to see that from Craig throughout the course of this game, as he has another one in hand as well. And his board presence went from meager to formidable really quickly, as he's hitting for 7 now.
Yeah, Sam falls to 12, and I mean, you look at the quality of Craig's creatures by themselves, you know, a 1-2, 1-1, 3-1 might not be the best.
Yep.
But here it is, turn 4. Basically, turn 5, basically nothing Sam can do about it. Craig Wescoe thinking he's a master of White Weenie, piloting it to 3 different Pro Tour top 8s in different variations over, the course of 4 years?
So Knight of the Reliquary comes back in on end step. Now, is Craig considering... No, he's not. He is just going to, in fact, pass the turn back and let Sam Black have access to that Knight of the Reliquary for a turn here. Still on end step. Swords to Plowshares, Mother of Runes, number 1.
Okay, are you going to respond, Craig, by using the Mother of Runes to protect itself?
He's going to give it Pro White to protect itself, and Sam says, yep. He's got another Swords to Plowshares in hand, though, so he can use 2 Swords to Plowshares to get rid of 1 Mother of Runes. That's how much fun that card is to play against. He's still going to have one after all that.
Yeah, just...
Whee! All right, Sam Black untaps. He has Jace the Mind Sculptor in his hand here.
Yeah, so the idea is that if Sam has another land, which he does, is to Swords to Plowshares and then use Jace the Mind Sculptor to bounce something, perhaps.
Okay.
I mean, I really don't see how that advances Sam Black's plan here in this game. He really needs a card like Supreme Verdict, which we know is not in his main deck. But here comes Jace the Mind Sculptor.
And Brainstorm from Sam Black. And he sees, I think, triple Daze? No, double Daze and a True Name Nemesis, I believe. Yeah.
Again.
Little bit late.
Yeah, more than
Take a
just
look over
little.
at Craig Wescoe's side of the board. flooded with permanents, and another Flicker Wisp could join the party here too. So
Sam Black needed those dazes on turn 1, and he needed to be on the play.
that's right. Flooded Strand for Sam Black. He's going to shuffle away some stuff and go grab a land here.
So curious as to why Sam Black wanted to use that Swords of Plowshares on the Mother of Runes at end of turn. Presumably he was considering, what are his possible top decks here, and how can I possibly get out of this sticky situation?
Mm-hmm.
One of those ways is to have Craig use all of his Mother of Runes. That Mother of Rune has Summoning Sickness, right? So he can't use it?
That's right.
Right, so that was the point then, was to...
Yeah, just to get rid of one of them. And that's exactly what happens. But there's still one left on the battlefield. And Sam just has to say go. So he uses a significant amount of resources here, but now Craig Wescoe's like, well, what should I do now? He can put that Flicker Wisp into play.
Yeah, I mean, Craig had the opportunity to use that Flicker Wisp to protect his Mother of Runes, but it's just better for him to use it at end of turn, flash out the Knight of the Reliquary so it can't be used as a blocker, and then attack in for 6, 10, 12 damage.
Because right now that Knight of the Reliquary is what, like a 5/5 or a 6/6 or something?
Is 5/5. So that's exactly what Craig's going to do. And this is the win.
3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It is indeed the win. He can attack for quite a bit more here, too, if he wants.
And Sam does the math, and that's it.
And that's going to be it. Craig Wescoe is going to take down game 1 in pretty decisive fashion, being on the play, hitting Aether Vial turn 1, and then just riding it to victory, basically.
Yeah.
Take a look at Craig Wescoe. He's a Platinum Pro from the United States. 3 Pro Tour top 8s to his name. He's got 3 Grand Prix top 8s as well. And at one of the Pro Tours, Pro Tour Dragon's Maze, he was the champion. Sam Black is number 10 right now in the top 25 pro rankings. He's a Gold Pro, also from the United States, with 2 Pro Tour top 8s, including Pro Tour Theros, where he got 3rd. 6 GP top 8s to his name. Was part of the Team World Championship winning team in 2006.
2008.
Excuse me, 2008, correct. So players are sideboarding here.
We should be able to pull up their sideboards on screen for everyone at home. There you get a good look at their sideboards. So
Nice.
Looking at their sideboards, the obvious choices for Sam Black to bring in, probably the Eleshnorn and Dark Blast, right? Maybe Nature's Claim for Aether Vial?
Yeah, that's absolutely a reasonable option. I mean, Nature's Claim only costs 1 mana. You can take care of an Aether Vial before it really gets out of hand.
That's probably something he wants to board in when he's on the draw.
I mean, it also hits equipment.
That's true.
So it's probably a no-brainer there just because it has really powerful targets in Craig Wescoe's deck to actually hit.
And if you're thinking from Craig Wescoe's side, your thought must be just what is going to happen differently next game that I need to board in to protect against, right? Seemed like a pretty... He won pretty handily that last game. Does he need Oblivion Ring? Does he need Sunlance? Pithing Needle? Are those going to help him better than the creatures that are already in his deck?
Yeah, I mean, we got a chance to see just what his deck could do there, and it looked pretty darn good. There's a few issues that he's going to face. True Name Nemesis is a card that Samuel Black is playing, and we've noticed how good that card is in the creature-based matchups throughout the course of the weekend. And, that could be a problem potentially for Wescoe. That said, he's got some flyers that can kind of ignore it and try to beat down. He can put up a reasonably quick clock as well. You can see our back table happening there with Andrew Cuneo versus Owen Turtenwald. A big crowd around that one. It's a little bit closer to the rail. You can see kind of kneel down newly minted Hall of Famer William Huey Jensen there with his hand on his face. He is watching his friend Owen and obviously rooting him on. You can see Reed Duke standing behind him. Those 3 guys hang out a lot. And I'm sure they're both pulling for their friend. Matt Costa to the side there too. We'll try to get an update from that side game there about who won game one.
So that was, in fact, the wrong sideboard for
Oh,
Sam
that was
Black.
the wrong sideboard?
That makes a little bit more sense.
Oh, yeah, wait, Dark Blast? Wait a second.
Yeah. So there you get an actual look at Sam Black's start.
So
sideboard.
what do you see here? Umezawa's Jitte, number 2, is that a no-brainer?
Yeah, that seems pretty obvious.
What else?
There's a chance he
Canonist
might want to
doesn't do
bring
anything.
in humility. Seems
Humility's interesting.
a little bit of a stretch, but I could see it. Maybe that Spell Pierce on the play to have an extra counter for Ether Vial.
Doesn't look like he has a lot for this matchup, though.
No. Either he wasn't expecting to face it, or he feels that he has a pretty good matchup against it already.
Cuneo is up 1-0. All right, Andrew Cuneo up 1-0 over Owen Turtenwald in the top 8 here. Owen's looking for vengeance. He made it to the finals of the last Grand Prix Washington D.C. also. Rashad wants to know what everybody thinks of the one-of Sun Lance in the sideboard for Craig Wescoe. I think it's sweet.
I think it's like pretty awesome against a bunch of different decks. Awesome against elves, right? As a one-of. Rashad is...
Oh, man, Rashad's going deep here.
That was a really bad pun.
All right. It looks like players are just about ready to get back underway here. Craig Wescoe up a game here in the quarterfinals, looking to advance to the semis, past Sam Black.
Looks like Craig brought in... Is that Relic of Progenitus?
I don't see a relic in his hand, no.
The second card from the left?
It's not a relic. Can't quite see what it is, though.
It is a relic.
Oh, is it a relic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so Relic of Progenitus.
So he's afraid of
Interesting.
the non-existent Termaglyphs.
There's no Snapcaster Mages or anything like that for Sam
No, I'm
Black.
just going through his deck list, double checking. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he just wants this as a cantrip, but you have to imagine that. I guess Knight of the Reliquary is what he's afraid of.
It does do something to Knight of the Reliquary. It keeps it in check for the most part.
But not as much as...
Yeah, and you'd think he could kind of ignore it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we'll see. You know, he also could have taken out something that he considers to be a dead card and just hope to kind of get through his deck a little quicker with that. All right, so Sam Black goes down to 6 after Craig Wescoe has kept. And Rashad fixed the sideboards again. We'll work on it.
So we're off to the races here.
All right. Windswept Heath going to get a land. Sam Black looks like he's kept a relatively mana-heavy hand, but I think he's pretty happy to have that.
Sam being on the play here is going to be a lot better for him. There's no sneaky turn 1 Vial like we saw last game. And that was, really what...
I mean, that was
did
a
it.
critical turn of the game, right? We saw
Yeah.
Swords to Plowshares on Dryad Arbor, Wasteland your land, and from that point on, Craig Wescoe was ahead and stayed that way.
Does not look like he's got a Vial on 1 this game. Does have a Wasteland to get rid of the Tropical Island, but still a Noble Hierarch for Sam.
Again, Sam Black keeping a mana-heavy hand has got to be happy. I think he's got 3 lands in hand still, and like at least 1 Ponder as well. He also had a Noble Hierarch in his opener, which is, at least in the early stages, mana. So I think the early aggressive Wasteland plan from Craig Wescoe isn't going to get him where he needs to go. Sam, though, a little light on action here, so see if he finds something with a Ponder.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much I like that turn 1 Wasteland. Craig obviously knows what he's doing. He's been playing White Weenie longer than most people have been on this planet. But I mean, it kind of sucks to just go land go with your White Weenie deck, but he's going to have to do that anyway.
The way the game plays out, it probably winds up being worse for him than it didn't block.
And Sam Black's going to attack for 1. And ship the turn back. Okay. Stoneforge Mystic off the top for Craig Wescoe. He's got a Cavernous Souls. And there's that Relic. Interesting play here.
Sam has the opportunity to daze here, but not going to do it. No reason to use it on Relic, which is seemingly irrelevant here.
Right.
Craig does have access to Stoneforge Mystic or Thalia on the following turn. We know Sam's still got that daze, though, so one of the next spells that Craig plays is going to be countered.
A lot of fetching and shuffling in Legacy. Here's a 3-drop. Green Sun Zenith for 2. And he's going to get a Kasali Pride Mage.
Okay.
So slowly moving the agenda forward here. Not a lot of fireworks in game 2 quite yet.
Yeah, although this kind of start from Craig Wescoe definitely favors Sam Black as compared to last game. Kasali Pride Mage, Sam's likely just getting out for insurance against any equipment, also just advancing his board, getting out more creatures, making his creatures more powerful later on. It's surprising how easy it is for the Bant deck to deal a bunch of damage really quickly.
Craig Wescoe is going to activate that Relic, just force Sam to exile a card from his graveyard. He picks one of the Ponders because he wants to keep those lands in there for Night of the Reliquary purposes. All right, this is a big one. This is the first turn of the game that Craig is going to have access to 2 mana.
Well, he's just going to play a spell, and unless he plays a really bad one, Sam's just going to daze it.
Well, he's got Cavernous Souls now, so.
Okay.
Yeah, playing around it quite nicely here. Named either Core or Artificer.
Yeah, it's naming Core.
Yep. And
not Artificer.
Look, I mean, he had 2 choices. He's going to get a Batter Skull.
It shuts him off, though. Unless I'm mistaken, he doesn't have another Plains in his hand. He's got some other colorless land. I think
a port or something.
Yeah,
okay.
So that Sarah Avenger is going to be tough for him to play. Oh, no, it's a Crocus.
Okay.
So he can still play that Sarah Avenger. It's actually well thought out by Craig.
A Wasteland, though, for Sam Black could make that daze that he's got in his hand a lot. Actually, turn it back on here.
It's gigantic. I mean, unlikely that the Cavernous Souls is going to get another creature out uncounterable. There's only Stoneforge Mystic that it could get. But now any of Craig's cards are going to be able to get dazed. I mean, unlikely Craig has a 1-drop at this point. He didn't play a 1-mana card on those previous turns. So
Sam Black attacks for 4. And now is Wesco going to be able to get his game plan going? I mean, he's sitting there staring at 6 cards in his hand. And he just passes a turn back. So he's going to be using his Stoneforge Mystic this turn. That's his plan. But isn't Kasali Pride Mage kind of a foil to that? I mean, we do see that Craig's got both Umezawa's Jitte and Batterskull in hand. So does he just figure, well, Sam can't attack me, and if he does, he's going to have to blow up my Batterskull or whatever it is, and then he can try to take over the game with the other equipment?
Exactly. So Craig's thinking about which of the two equipment's more powerful. Like, he can wait for Sam to attack in with his Qasali Primage, and then Craig can lay the Batterskull, and Sam has to use Qasali Primage.
Otherwise, he just blocks.
Right, to kill the Batterskull. And then on the following turn, Craig can power out the Jitte and start taking out Sam Black that way. He can alternatively go the other way, but the problem with leading with Jitte is that Craig's going to have to spend 2 mana to force Sam to crack the Qasali Primage.
Mm-hmm. And he would also take the damage this turn.
Right. This is a lot better. Craig really playing around days in this game. I mean, it's the skill that you have to have a lot of patience to do. A lot of people are impatient, just want to jam their best spells out there as quickly as possible. I've got 2 mana. I'll play my 2 mana spell. Craig just waiting here. Is he going to get punished for it is the question.
Is this a Jace the Mind Sculptor? No, it's another Green Sun Zenith. And Craig Wescoe says that's fine. So this one's for 3, and there it is, Knight of the Reliquary. Now, Craig Wescoe still has Relic of Progenitus on the battlefield, so he can shrink that Knight of the Reliquary right back down, even though right now it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 7/7, so it's huge.
So, yeah, I mean, this is a position where Relic of Progenitus is
fine.
Yeah, is actually doing some damage.
But it's good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a one-time use, and then Sam can continue clawing back.
Mm-hmm.
But
because the thing to remember is the Knight of the Reliquary fuels itself, right?
It's not like Tarmogoyf, right?
Yeah, it's not like he just has to like draw lands for a while. He just can just start doing that himself.
I mean, this is big. Sam didn't attack with like Qasali Primage and chose just to play the Knight of the Reliquary in that turn.
Mm-hmm.
So Craig's able to live one turn with that Batterskull.
Nice.
In play. I mean,
he can even attack with it here too if he wants, because Sam Black really doesn't have blocks.
He drew a Revoker, a Phyrexian Revoker for his turn. He can use that on either one of Sam's creatures.
Oh, wow.
Qasali Primage will keep his equipment alive. If he wants to choose Knight of the Reliquary, he can kind of take out the big creature from generating more of an advantage.
Right,
There's still the days in hand, though, so.
And make Sam exile something. Sam chooses a Wasteland. And he's going to attack with the Batterskull. Right now, the Knight of the Reliquary is a 5/5, but Sam knows that if he were to block, it could become a 2/2.
Okay, so now this Phyrexian Revoker is going to come out. Craig's really excited here, but we know that Sam has that daze, instant daze from Sam Black. And Craig's now giving Sam a big turn to attack in with his gigantic Knight of the Reliquary. Looks to be a 5/5 at this moment.
It's a 5/5. He also just drew a Misty Rainforest, so it could be a 6/6 here. I think there's going to be a Brainstorm before anything. Yeah. There's that Green Sun Zenith again.
Yeah, well, you put it back in your deck, so.
Yep.
Bound to try it.
Indeed. Swords to Plowshares and Green Sun Zenith for Sam Black. He does have Craig Wescoe tapped out here for lands, so if he wants to Swords to Plowshares the Stoneforge Mystic, he can do that.
Sam thinking through his options here. Is he going to Swords to Plowshares? Yep.
All right, the Batterskull token, though, the Germ token's going to die. Jump Craig back up to 23 here. Sam Black attacks with Qasali Primage for 4. does not attack with Knight of the Reliquary. Wants to save activations for that. And he's going to take this opportunity to blow up the Relic of Progenitus, thereby keeping his Knight of the Reliquary huge. And he's just going to try to put the screws to Craig Wescoe here and say, look, man, I'm going to tempo you out. My Knight of the Reliquary is going to be bigger than anything else that you're going to do. Wow, and a Wasteland for Sam Black. So a huge swing there.
It's a really well thought out play by Sam Black.
Love this.
I mean, the naive thing to think is that, hey, there's this Batterskull, and I've got a thing to destroy artifacts. I need to spend my Kasali Primate on killing the Batterskull. But Sam Black knows that if he just swords the Plowshares, the Germ token, it's going to be a long time before Craig has a chance to get it back out. And he can use this time and the Kasali Primate to just get in a bunch of damage with his Knight of the Reliquary and use it like he just did this turn, get that Wasteland to get rid of the Caracas. And Craig, we know, doesn't have any more lands in his hand. Unless he drew one this turn, he's really in a tough situation.
Yeah, he did draw a land. It looks like he's got a Wasteland in hand, but that's not going to help him with those Serra Adventures. He does have a Thalia and a Umezawa's Jitte in hand as well, though. But he could just be behind too far at this point, as Knight of the Reliquary is going to get massive here. The Wasteland in the yard, the land that he sacked to get the Wasteland in the yard, but there's also a Misty Rainforest.
Yeah, this Thalia is too little too late, I think. The fact that Craig drew a Wasteland this turn meant that he could not cast either of his Serra Avengers. Sam has Ponder and Green Sun in his hand. If he wants to cast them, they're going to cost an extra colorless mana because the Thalia was that a 7/7 Knight of the Reliquary is going to barrel in soon.
Yeah, right now it could be 8/8 with the Misty Rainforest, 9/9 with the Noble Hierarch Exalted. I mean, the thing is massive.
Yeah, just a couple turns with that Knight could spell a quick end to this game.
Ponder for Sam Black. Sees another Knight, a Sylvan Library, I believe that was, in a land. Is that what that was, Sylvan Library?
Yes, it was Sylvan Library. He
All
brought
right.
that out of his sideboard.
Okay.
Sam carefully putting those cards back, draws Knight of the Reliquary number 2. And here we come in. Currently an 8/8 because the Exalted trigger, potentially a 9/9 like you said with that Misty Rainforest. I assume that Craig elected not to block, or he did.
I don't believe he blocked.
No reason for Sam to get, if there was a block,
Right.
get frisky there with the fetch land immediately. So that's 9, dropping Craig to 10. Craig really needs a land here, and a white-colored one at that.
So how does Craig Wescoe get himself out of this situation, in theory?
Chump blocks for a couple of turns as he continues to build an army would be my guess. It's really too bad that A, he can't cast those Flicker Wisps, and B, he doesn't have Ether Vial like he did last game to fog for a couple of turns, because that would be perfect if he could fog for a couple turns with those Flicker Wisps, amount this army, get a Jitte out and equip it up. He just doesn't have the time, doesn't have the mana to do that.
He certainly doesn't. He's going to attack with his Thalia. Sam falls down to 8. Draws Jace the Mind Sculptor. And is just going to play a second Knight of the Reliquary
Yeah, well,
and attack.
here we go. 9 damage. Craig's considering if he wants to block with that Stoneforge Mystic, he can flash in that Umezawa's Jitte,
Yeah.
equip it to the Thalia, and start doing some work. But with 2 8/8s from Sam Black, 1 Jitte, 1 activation of it is not going to be enough, likely.
No, it's full chump block mode here for Craig Wescoe. Now, he doesn't actually need to block right now if he doesn't want. He's only, well, I shouldn't say only, but he's taking 9.
Right. Yeah, it's exactly what Craig's going to do. Trump block, throw GT out there. Draws Revoker for his turn. So he can actually equip the GT and Trump block with Thalia, gaining some life, even if Sam's got another fetch land with GT. But that really does not end him with a winning situation in this game. It's just prolonging what little time he's got left. Craig thinking, if there's one white-weenie player who could pull himself out of this situation, it would be number 20th ranked player Craig Wescoe. Okay,
All
well,
right, equip up Thalia and say go. So a whole lot of thinking leads to an equip and a ship. And Sam Black draws True Name Nemesis. All right. Add a mana. Sack this with one of my Knight of the Reliquaries. Grab a
yep.
Caracas, and that should do it. He's going to be able to use the Caracas to bounce Thalia and attack for lethal.
exactly 10 because of the sacrificed land from Knight of the Reliquary. That's why you have these nice one-ofs in your deck with Knight of the Reliquary. Find the silver bullets when you want, and
there we go. So Craig Wescoe says, good game, as we are now tied up 1 game apiece. Sam Black versus Craig Wescoe.
we have half of our semifinals set at this point. Looks like Drew Tunison defeated Ted McCluskey. He'll be going to the semifinals. And Jared Betcher defeated Deshaun Baylock. He will be facing off against Drew Tunison in the semifinals. Winner of this game will face off against the winner of Owen Turtenwald and Andrew Cuneo. It looks like that match might be over. We're going to get our floor guys to give us perhaps a match or a game result for you guys.
So one of our semifinal matches this set, and it's Tunison with Dredge versus Betcher with Sneak and Show.
They're going to game 3 on the back table.
Ooh. So 2 game 3s here in our really just stacked up first half of this bracket. Craig Wescoe, Sam Black, Owen Turtenwald, Andrew Cuneo. Not bad. And you're taking a look at that bracket right here. So we have our bottom ones, like I just mentioned, Drew Tunison, he's on Dredge.
Deshaun Baylock on
Sneak and Show. Right, so they are going to be facing off in their semifinal match, and it's either going to be Craig Wescoe or Sam Black versus Owen Turtenwald or Andrew Cuneo on the top half of our bracket here. Take a look at our upcoming webcast schedule real quick. GP Albuquerque, Standard November 23rd and 24th. Following weekend on November 30th through December 1st is Grand Prix Vienna. Standard as well. Grand Prix Dallas-Fort Worth is on the 7th and 8th of December, and Grand Prix Prague is Modern on January 10th through 12th. The players are shuffling back there. We are seeing some reports that perhaps Owen Turtenwald has won 2-1. That was a
Yeah, it looks that way.
That was a definite question mark in my tone there. But it does look like they're wrapping up here. All right, Owen Turtenwald, 2-1 is your victor over Andrew Cuneo. I heard Andrew say good luck next round, so that's enough. That's all I need to know.
So he'll face the winner of this game, Craig Wescoe versus Sam Black. I hear the high fives going around for people in this venue, people who had advanced to the semifinals. Let's see who's going to be the last person to.
Owen Turtenwald on blue, white, red Delver is going to face down either Death and Taxes or Bant. And it's not going to be easy either way. He's got 5 Pro Tour top 8s combined between these two to battle one way or another.
I was going to say, I was judging purely by the face of Huey Jensen whether or not Owen won or lost that game, and his look looked as if Owen lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, didn't want to say anything. But congratulations to Owen Turtenwald.
You think he's going to close it out this time?
I do.
He's never won a Grand Prix. For all the ones that he's top 8'd, he's never actually finished
13 or now 14
yeah,
he's top 8'd?
So, he is overdue for that victory, no doubt about it.
So there's a chance that the sideboard's changed a little here. Maybe a Spell Pierce is boarded out for Sam since he's on the draw.
Let's take a look at some sideboards. Sam Black's got Gaddock Teed, Humility. Not a whole lot that we saw that looks particularly great against Craig Wescoe.
It's possible also that Craig is boarding in the Sunlance on the play, didn't have it on the draw.
Okay. Pithing
Or the other way
Needle,
around.
is that an option here?
I mean, it depends. If Craig brought in the
relic,
then it seems likely that he brought in the Pithing Needle, right?
And Rest in Peace as well?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, are those Knights a massive issue here for Craig Wescoe? They were what ultimately finished him off in that game.
But do you really want to be in the position where you're spending 2 mana and a spell on your turn to cast this thing that may or may not have a really big effect immediately? Like, wouldn't you just rather cast a random dork?
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, Craig's the master at White Weenies, so.
He knows. In Wesco we trust, no doubt about that when it comes to decisions on sideboarding for a deck like this. You can see the intense look on Wesco's face there. Okay, so if you look behind the player sitting down, that's actually the first semifinal match getting underway, is what I'm told. The winner of this game of Magic is going to be in the semifinals for this Legacy Grand Prix here in Washington, D.C. I'm Marshall. That's Ben. This has been a close one. Very deliberate play from both players, very steady. Nothing too flashy, but some pretty swingy turns. And we mentioned being on the play versus the draw in this matchup. It's important in most matchups, but man, Craig Wescoe, like if he sticks a turn 1 Aether Vial, it's so different. The whole game plays out different than if he doesn't.
Well, looking at his hand, he does have a turn 1 Mother of Runes and 2 lands. It's a close keep here, but
he's got a Phyrexian Revoker, I see, but no Aether Vial.
No Aether Vial, yeah.
But it's a keep anyway. Karakas into Mother of Runes.
Okay,
your move,
big.
Sam Black. Now, one of the things that we've seen Sam pay special attention to is his mana. He's made every effort to get as much mana on the table as early as possible in both games. He knows that Craig's deck has many different ways to deny or slow him down mana-wise, and he wants to make sure he plays around that. And right away, Swords to Plowshares, though, on Mother of Runes is going to take care of that issue, and really one of the only windows that you get to 1 for 1. All right.
So now the question is whether or not Craig wants to play a powerful spell into a potential daze. And he
does. He's just going to run Stoneforge Mystic. He could have also sat there and waited with Rishadenport, but he doesn't, and it resolves. And a Batterskull goes in his hand, so a strong opening play here from Craig Wescoe.
Yeah.
Cares not for days.
Well, I mean, he has a second Stoneforge Mystic, but it's possible that he wanted to bait out the days by playing the Phyrexian Revoker first. Also pretty unlikely that Sam would actually use the days on the Phyrexian Revoker at this point in the game.
Yeah, it's just so hard to know what to name at this point.
Yeah, and almost definitely is going to be wrong. I mean, we know it's in Sam Black's hand.
All right, Sam Black with a Brainstorm. He's got a Jitte back there in the back of his hand somewhere, which can definitely do a lot of work as well. Here's a land and a Zenith. That's going to not only get him a shuffle effect, but also get him a mana here with the Dryad Arbor. Okay. So Sam Black attempting to fight back, using this turn to develop his mana and sculpt his hand a bit. Don't think he's going to have much else here, though. And that means that Craig Wescoe is going to get a Batter Skull if he wants it.
Yeah. Interesting that Sam burned that Green Sun Zenith immediately for the Dryad Arbor. When he knows that there's a Batter Skull facing him down, we know that he's got a second Green Sun Zenith he can use to fetch up the Kasali Pride Mage.
Something that Craig Wescoe is probably taking note of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing that really makes sense there. I mean, obviously Sam wanted to shuffle away his Brainstorm, but he knows that he's going to get this gigantic creature with lifelink. Like,
right. So Big Craig's got to figure that Sam's got a plan for that.
Craig drew a complete blank in the form of a second Caracas. I mean, even though the legend rule has changed, it's like he really wanted to be able to cast multiple Flicker Wisps at some point in the game. He could only cast one once. Likely on the following turn, this turn he's going to use Stoneforge Mystic to put in that Batter Skull.
Right.
The question now is Sam going to preemptively Green Sun Zenith for Kasali Pride Mage and a mana up? And if he does that, does Craig want to put in the Batter Skull, or does he want to wait, use his second Stoneforge Mystic and grab a Jitte and do something similar to what he did last game?
Now, does Craig Wescoe have something else to do with his mana if he doesn't use a Stoneforge Mystic this turn?
Well, he could have used it on Rashadenport.
Yeah, but now that's too late.
He gets an attack out of the Batter Skull anyway. There's no untapped land for Sam here.
Oh, wow. So Sam's just going right for Knight of the Reliquary here.
Wow. Just does not care.
No respect for the Batter Skull.
He's out. I'm not wrong. He's out of Green Sun Zenith, right?
I believe so. I only saw one on this turn. He can just make a Knight of the Reliquary, which is just flat out bigger than a Batter Skull anyway.
True.
Not this turn. It's a 4/4 right now, but next turn it could easily be.
Well, yeah, and he's got the Umazao's Jitte in hand and a Misty Rainforest. Make it even bigger.
Go big.
Yeah.
Sam Black says, I'm just go over the top. Yeah, that's cute. Germ token, huh?
Tough guy, eh?
Germ token, you say. All right.
It'll be a couple turns, though, because Craig's got other blockers that he could use to trade for the Knight of the Reliquary, but...
Now, Craig does have that Phyrexian Revoker, and he can name Knight of the Reliquary with it. Sam can still grow it through natural fetch lands and such, which isn't too bad.
I mean, pretty key here that Craig drew that Plains.
Yes.
Gives him a lot of flexibility.
It makes his Flicker Wisps into Falters. All right, attack with Batter Skull. Sam doesn't have a block here. His Reliquary could trade with the Germ token, but he doesn't want to do that when he knows he can make it a 5/5 next turn anyway. And play a Revoker.
Non-land written in Sharpie on Craig Wescoe's Revoker, reminding you that...
Just a friendly reminder that he can't name Dryad Arbor or Caracas or something.
Or even like a fetch land.
Mm-hmm. I like this subtle reminder. All right, Swords to Plowshares, though, for Sam Black can get him right back in this.
Yeah.
I can't quite read it, but assumption, of course, is that he named Knight of the Reliquary there.
He's going to play Jitte and then equip Jitte.
Yeah. Wow.
And potentially use the Swords to Plowshares at some point later to clear the way.
He's got that Misty Rainforest in tow. So now he can just use the Jitte once it gets a counter on it to take down the Revoker himself.
Well, more importantly, if Craig Wescoe blocks, triple blocks here, double blocks here, then Sam Black can crack that Misty Rainforest and use Swords to Plowshares and destroy.
This is like limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like use a combat trick. Use a removal spell during combat to get a 2-for-1. I like it.
And then, at the end of combat, he's got this big creature with Jite on it. Perhaps Craig's creatures are dead. Craig's thinking about it. I mean, it's kind of the obvious play here is to at least double block, destroy that Knight of the Reliquary. Craig's got to be thinking, though, of the Swords to Plowshares. Let's see what he wants to give up.
Now, is he going to block with this Revoker either way because he knows he's going to lose it?
Well, yeah, maybe, but
Guess not.
does not seem to be moving in with it.
Wow. So he's going to double block, and Sam says, sure, I'll crack my Misty Rainforest, which, Craig Wescoe had to expect that part,
Right.
but this is where it's going to get a little ugly for him.
Making it 5 power.
He's going to order it Germ Token, then Stoneforge Mystic. And that's a white mana source, and Craig might be like, uh-oh.
Here it comes. Swords to Plowshares, say goodbye. Likely wants to get the Stoneforge Mystic. So you only give Craig 1 life. Or, I guess he picked the Batter Skull. The Germ Token, rather.
Okay, there we go. I was waiting for the Stoneforge Mystic to die there. And there's 2 of those counters. Take out the Phyrexian Revoker, and Sam Black completes a good old-fashioned 2-for-1 there. Wow.
Doesn't matter that this is one of the most powerful formats of all time.
Sometimes they double block, and
Yeah.
sometimes you have the removal spell, I suppose. I believe that Craig just drew another Revoker, which is just miserable here. I mean, there's a... Well, now he can cast it, and then can he just name Jite
Yes.
to protect it? But then he just has a 2-1?
Yeah.
But that's still pretty good. The Jite would still pick up counters, correct?
Yeah, and
he
as
just
soon
wouldn't
as
be able to use
Sam
them.
is able to get another Swords to Plowshares to take out the Phyrexian Revoker, he's got a gigantic amount of counters on the Jite.
So I wouldn't call that miserable in retrospect, but still not the best.
Yeah, so I mean,
Phyrexian
Sam has
Revoker.
the ability to respond to this ability, but I mean,
Does Sam already have the other Swords to Plowshares
Yeah.
in hand? Okay.
I didn't want to give a spoiler alert.
Sorry, I hadn't seen it yet, but. All right, so that is going to name Umezawa's Jite, as we talked about, and there's a play you mentioned before, Ben. Thanks to the new Legend rule, and Stoneforge Mystic is going to come down. But Craig Wescoe also has 2 Flicker Wisps, so he's trying to mount an offensive here. The winner of this match is going to make it to the semis. The loser's done. We're in the top 8 here in Washington, D.C., and we've got a Game 3 versus 2 players both sitting on the top 25 pro rankings. Sam Black sitting at number 10, Craig Wescoe number 20 on those rankings.
And the Legend rules have changed again, right? So even if Craig Wescoe plays his own Umezawa's Jite, they both stay in play.
Right.
It's not like it was back in Kamigawa block when Jite was first around. It's an untapped draw Wasteland. Swords to Plowshares sitting in Sam's hand if he wants to use it on that Revoker.
Craig Wescoe sitting on 29 life, so it's going to be a little bit before Sam can close this game out, but he is certainly putting himself in a good position to do so. He's going to equip Dryad Arbor and attack with it.
I mean, it makes sense. It allows him to use his Knight of the Reliquary later on to make it grow to a
But
bigger
Craig
size.
Wescoe has to now figure out that Sam Black has a removal spell for the Revoker, right?
Yeah.
He
yeah.
just goes, oh, okay, so I guess he has it. Because otherwise he could just block with his Stoneforge Mystic.
Trick me once,
Yeah.
fool me once, you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess he feels like he has to do it anyway. Here's Swords to Plowshares on the Revoker.
Give
That's
+2,
going to
+2
allow
or
him
whatever.
to pump up his guy or shrink the Stoneforge Mystic. Pick your poison. That thing dies. 2 more counters back on it.
So he had to do that before he equipped, right?
Do what?
he had to Swords of Plowshares before he equipped the Umasaru's Jite.
Oh, right, because that's also an activated ability, right?
Yeah.
Awkward. Neither player seemed to notice that. I think that they were focusing on what we were, which is the
minus
using
one,
the
minus
counters.
one ability.
Right, yeah, the -1/-1, the gaining 2 life, the pumping your creature. But if it was naming it, it's all activated abilities for that card, and equipping is an activated ability.
I think that likely the resolution here would be to back up to that point, which point Sam just uses the Swords of Plowshares pre-combat.
That's right.
Same thing's going to end up happening.
Well, no, I mean, Craig Wescoe
he might
have
not block
his guy.
with, yeah.
I didn't even think he was going to there. So it looks
Jite
like
would
the
have
players
one fewer counters. It would
so
be
the
the big difference.
Okay, so probably not a huge deal, but nobody really caught it here, though. So it looks like play has just resumed. Has continued as normal as Craig Wescoe has already drawn a card for the term, and Sam Black wastelanded his Caracas or his port and just is destroying him here.
So the judge is talking to them about this.
Oh, the judges? Yeah, okay.
This. Like I said before, the only real change, if you wanted to have this board state be exactly the same, is that the Jite would have one fewer counter. Because Sam would have had to use 2 counters to remove the Stoneforge Mystic. I mean, like you said, Craig likely wouldn't have blocked with the Stoneforge Mystic, so it wouldn't have died, but they're figuring it out.
All right,
let's listen in.
Sounds like I did. They're going to DQ you out of this top 8 so fast.
He's joking.
I did ask him, that's why I said that.
So I believe the judge has gone to maybe grab another judge or get a bigger judge. All right, let's see if we can listen in.
You did that before the revoker was swords.
Yes.
And it was after blockers was declared, right? Like you had attacked, he had declared the blocker, and then after the blockers was when you had swords the revoker.
We know that.
All right, a little clarification from the judge there.
Sounds like you needed to write something on your card. I actually remember. What would I write? It is a fact equip is an activated.
Okay, well, I mean, this is a very important game, obviously. Game 3 of a quarterfinals match.
It certainly is.
Make sure that the ruling ends up being 100% correct.
This is model behavior, though, from both players. They're both...
It might be a little too late to go back. Then again, I'm not a judge. I'm definitely not the head judge of this event.
Right. And Sam Black saying the same thing that you were. He says, so this would have one less counter, ultimately. But you can see the players are remaining calm and jovial, and this is a good way to do this here. Call the judge, tell them the truth, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's Blake Rasmussen. He's joking. He's not a judge. He's one of our text writers. He called it a double DQ.
I don't think that's how it works.
He said that Craig Wescoe's note on his revoker is outside notes. No lands. But fortunately, that's not how it works. Right now, the judges are conferring, and we're going to get a ruling here on what needs to happen.
Basically, I'm just waiting. No. I don't think you actually have to. I don't think Craig won. I guess they want to see if they randomly.
Well. Okay, we got.
That is a head
judge,
judge.
Chris Richter.
All right, let's listen in.
Okay, but it was moved. I moved it. I've been wanting to know.
Okay, but then you use the other later, or no?
Then I used the other after plowing.
Oh, so that one's fine.
Okay, so basically, this guy was in play, naming Jite,
Yep.
I
and
cast
he
it, and then I
equipped
attacked.
it, and then attacked,
And then he
I blocked.
the Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, and then he swords to plowshare this guy,
And then
so then this guy.
And what kind I don't know.
So then this guy dies, and he gets 2 counters. Okay. Now,
And then, but also since then, there have been
since
other
then, I
players.
played a wasteland, wasted this land, searched for another wasteland with their wasted this land, instead go, I think Craig's drawn.
Okay.
I have not.
Obviously, we have one game rule violation, which is using an ability that we could not have. We are well past the points.
Oh, no.
You missed that exit a while ago. So what we're going to do is we're going to assess a game rule violation to you. There's a failure to maintain. Actually, it's another game rule violation to you because what happens is you have an effect. You had something that says nope, and neither of you applied that.
Right, he didn't
He didn't
point out
say
his
no.
card.
Yeah, because you had an active role. in it
I'm
as
pretty
well.
sure it was intentional and he should be disqualified.
I had a feeling that
That's
was
the only way I'm winning here.
Yes. So based on that, it's game rule violation, both of you. We could spend 2 hours fixing that, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I just concede. I'll pay 7
I'm
not winning this game.
You can, if you so wish. You could also play it out. All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right, and that's going to do it. The ruling comes down, and we heard Craig Wescoe jokingly request a disqualification. He said, that's the only way I'm winning this game, but he was saying that purely in jest, and he extends the hand to Sam Black.
Wow.
And Sam Black is our winner. He's going to